What is going on, SoFi fans? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to give you a quick overview of the data points, go over exactly what it is truly saying, and plus they did submit their preliminary 14A that I just wanted to discuss with you. So I'm going to go over all that. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get right to it. So it is flat going kind of back and forth between red and green. It does have a lot of good momentum behind it, so definitely a very positive sign in that regard. But like I mentioned, I'm going to touch on some of the technicals and other stuff, but I want to start off with the preliminary 14A that was submitted on the 14th after hours, as you can see. So in general, there is going to be a shareholder meeting on June the 14th, 2023 at 7 a.m. I don't know why they always like to do early morning stuff, but whatever, it is what it is. But there is 4 things that you need to be aware of that they are tentatively going to be, I guess, voting on. And so I'll touch on those in a second, but keep in mind, you do have to, I believe right here, have to be a shareholder for record of business on April 28th. So today technically is the last day that you can actually buy SoFi to participate in this. So in case you maybe sold out tentatively or whatever it is, as long as you have 1 physical share of SoFi, you can participate in the shareholder meeting. So just be aware of that. So proposal number 1. So it says to elect 10 nominees. And when it comes down to that kind of thing, to kind of serve as board of directors, I'm not really that big of a fan of that. I obviously like to do my due diligence and find out exactly what the company is doing, but I'm not one of those individuals that likes to look at profiles to see who exactly is the right fit for the company. There's a lot of individuals out there that do that, enjoy doing that, but that's just not necessarily me. So make sure you guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day and see who is serving that. But like I said, I'm not that big of a fan of this. I rather look at monetary stuff, such as proposal number 2, which does say to approve on a non-binding advisory basis the compensation of the company's named executive officers. And based on the past, they pay them fairly accurately and accordingly. So Again, I don't anticipate anything crazy coming out of this. I'll do a little bit more of a deeper dive dedicated to only this on a later date to go over exactly things that you need to know. Proposal number 3 is kind of boring, so it is just reconfirming the accounting firm, which is Deloitte. So again, it is what it is. And proposal number 4, I feel that people are going to potentially take out of context, and the reasoning is for that. So on a side note, it does say to approve a amendment of the company's certificate of incorporation to give the board of directors discretionary authorization to effect a reverse split. So people are going to see a reverse split and panic, but technically this was already voted and approved based on the last shareholder meeting. Just you only have around 12 months to enact that. So this is why they are getting, I guess, another 12 months technically. And like I've said in the past, and when this was hovering around the $5 mark, I did say that this was very much crucial because as crazy as it sounds, if a stock is below $5 for 10 consecutive days, it is considered a penny stock. And there is a lot of institutions that cannot hold penny stocks in certain accounts per se, or on margin. So definitely, I think that is a very positive thing to potentially have as a fail-safe potentially, just to have a reverse split. So again, that is the 4 that is going to be voted on. So let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. Give you guys a quick overview of what shorts are doing. So short score is currently 68. 69 is the utilization. And as far as what shorts are doing today, they are flat. 0, which is kind of weird. Very interesting. But 11.91% of the free float is being shorted, and now works out to be around 94.29 million shares being shorted, technically. So again, I like to bring this up as a good benchmark, but the fact that they're not doing anything, it kind of shows that they don't necessarily know exactly where things are going. So when it comes down to SoFi in specific, there is a lot of banks going to be disclosing their earnings in the next couple days. So I think a lot of maybe shorts as well are waiting on the sidelines just to see how that is going to play out. But of course, I could be very much wrong. As far as this goes, there hasn't been any substantial orders today, and this is on the secondary market. There was around 3, and all of which were buys, and you can tell that based on the bid and the ask. So 102,000, 110, and 923,000. And I guess that one could be considered kind of substantial as well. When it comes down to options activity, it is a little bit more evenly divided. So $268,000 in call premium, 254 in put premium. So kind of divided, like I said, but I think a lot of people are just waiting on the sidelines to try and see exactly how the economy is going to really interpret all of these earnings. But as of right now, the reason why it's kind of pulling back so much is because the pivot is $6.05. So it is kind of flirting, getting very close to that. So 605 is a very strong resistance point. So potentially things that you need to watch for is 533. That is the S1. That's the next big support. So most likely it is going to be wedge bound between this 533 and the 605, which is the S1 to the pivot. So again, that is what is behind the scenes, and most likely, like I said, it will trade between that range unless there is either a good catalyst or positive momentum that will continue to push it above that. And when it comes down to, for instance, this stochastic is currently at 48, kind of neutral in that regard, no defined trend. Momentum, number of retail investors, is kind of flat, but it is above 0, so shows that more buyers are theoretically getting in, and that's been the case ever since it looks like the 30th, March 30th. But like I said, when it comes down to this, a lot of people are now just waiting for as well the earnings. So even though I did bring this up on June, as far as June the 14th, the shareholder meeting, prior to that is going to be, I think it is May the 1st. That's when the earnings is going to be. And I think that is going to be a very, very big deal for a lot of investors to really watch for. And like I said, and I continue to say, if they do have another good round of earnings, you are going to see a lot more analysts jumping on board for ratings potentially, and hopefully upping it as well. The average price for all the analysts is $8.20, which does represent almost about 40% upside. So behind the scenes, SoFi does have a lot of good value. People see that value and hopefully are bringing and averaging down if applicable, or just making brand new positions. So once again, let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. But it is that time of season once again that institutions are disclosing their positions. So you do see, oddly enough, a lot of red. So that does show that for the most part, a lot of closed positions, which is kind of weird. It doesn't make sense. So I don't know if this is just a more of a sector-wide kind of thing that's happening to a lot of the banks, or if it is just dedicated to SoFi. Something just doesn't add up. So it does show that there is a lot of institutions getting out and just or reducing their position. So hopefully it's not something telling of something bigger potentially coming for SoFi, but of course I could be wrong. I'm not a financial advisor, but when it comes down to SoFi, I think some big ones that you really need to watch for is just the Vanguard and, for instance, BlackRock. So Vanguard, even based on their last round, was, and they did increase it about 2%, give or take. And then there was BlackRock. So BlackRock was roughly, if I can see it right here, so they made a brand new position, it looks like right here, of 200,000. Oh, sorry, that was a put. So it looks like they were a little bit more bearish, at least potentially, but based on this, on the physical shares, long shares, they increased at 12%. So kind of conflicted. So maybe it is something specific to the broader sector. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And without further ado, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on SoFi.